So the news I was talking about, of course, is a new selection pack is here. Date available July 4th, which is this Friday. Struggle in Wonderland. And oh boy, am I gonna struggle in Wonderland this Friday. The new Maliss archetype, the Revolutionary Battle Wasp, and Tenny have new cards as well. I don't know if the Battle Wasps are that revolutionary, but sure. Yeah. The only cards we know are in this pack so far are Maliss Heartscriptor, obviously hinting at the entire Maliss archetype. I suppose the only question that remains to be seen is whether we get March here or not. Because, I mean, everything else, every other Maliss card was released at the same time in the TCG, and I do think it is basically 100% that we're going to get all the other Maliss cards in here. Chances are March here will be here as well, because that's just how it's been recently. Recently, they haven't really split up archetypes that were spread out in the TCG over like 2 packs. They haven't really split them out in Master Duel for like 1 or 2. For like multiple packs. So I think chances are pretty good that we're getting March here with this as well. Now, what we're probably not going to get, because it's also more recent in the TCG, I think is like, I don't think we're getting the Adignister support in this pack. At least I feel like the Allied Code Talker would be a card that they announce beforehand, because it's like that's its own archetype, right? Adignister and the Allied Code Talker is a pretty good and I mean iconic Cyberse card. So I feel like that would be something they would announce beforehand. So I don't expect that we get the Adignister cards, but I also don't think that it matters too much at the moment in Master Duel, because in Master Duel you still have the full consistency package for Maliss, because that's another thing here that I wanted to bring up real quick. Previously, I think whenever they dropped a new pack that had any sort of pre-limits to it, I think they announced those at the same time. If I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when, like, for example, when they announced, what was released with a pre-hit? I think Tenpai was released with a pre-hit. I think Tenpai had, like, the field spell add 2 or something. Or Fiendsmith as well, right? I think they announced the pack that had Fiendsmith at the same time as the semi-limit. I'm pretty sure. I think that's how it worked. It was like, here's an upcoming selection pack, and here's an upcoming Forbidden and Limited List update. And they announced it at the same time. Unless they changed that behavior, you know, unless they've switched up the way they do this, this would mean that Maliss is released completely unlimited, right? No changes to Maliss whatsoever, which is pretty crazy if they also have March here. Like, Maliss with everything at 3, plus March here, plus 2 copies of Gold Sarcophagus is insane levels of power, alongside the fact that people can't really play Artifact Lancia in Master Duel because it's best of 1, and the deck has Appaloosa. Is crazy. -1 terraforming though. Oh, okay. No, we're fine. There's no terraforming. All right, we're safe. Never mind. Maliss is ass. No. On a real note, like the deck's crazy. The deck's gonna be crazy if it releases in this state. And I guess we're gonna find out on Friday what exactly is in this pack. The rest in this pack, from what I can tell right now, Battle Wasp, unfortunately, I gotta say, probably completely irrelevant. Liberator Ito, not a good card. Delta of Invitation is not bad. There's some interesting combos with Delta of Invitation to make an instant Varudras with a small Eldritch package. It's not a bad card at all, but also, like, niche. And then the Tenny support, I think, is cool. I like the new Tenny cards. I really do. Especially the new Tenny Field Spell I find fun. But I also don't know how relevant this is. I've always wanted to mess around with the Tenny Field Spell in Paleo. But I never got around to doing it in the TCG. So maybe we'll do it in Master Duel with the new Tenny cards. But Tenny itself, like Tenny Sword Soul, probably something that some people are going to mess around with, but I don't think it's going to be too relevant. So the big news on Friday is going to be Malice. So speaking of Friday, normally I don't stream Fridays, but I will change my streaming schedule for this week. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to take this opportunity because tomorrow is supposed to be the hottest day of the week in Germany by far, maybe even the hottest day of the month. I'm going to take tomorrow off because it's supposed to be like incredibly hot tomorrow, and we're just going to go swimming or something. I'm going to take tomorrow off and stream Friday instead because Friday is not going to be Friday is not supposed to be that hot. I think I checked earlier. So we're going to be live on Friday instead of tomorrow because tomorrow is going to be hell. And then the only thing is on Friday, because I didn't think I was going to stream, I did make a dentist appointment on Friday at the usual time where I start streaming. So the stream on Friday is going to start like an hour or two later because I have that. So, but I don't know how long it's going to take. Probably not that long. So we're just going to be like an hour or two late and then let's play some Malice. Because even though I'm not the biggest Malice fan, you guys know this. I have not been a big fan of Malice in the TCG. I don't really like the deck. But it is ultimately going to be probably the best deck in Master Duel for a while, at least until we get Ryziel. It's gonna, like, if it is releasing in this state that I'm thinking it's gonna release, it is going to be the best deck by a lot. It is not close. So, in regards to preparing for the World Championship, I'm gonna have no choice but to learn it. And like, I mean, I feel like I know what Malice does, of course, because I've played against it a lot in the TCG. But still, playing against the deck and playing the deck yourself is a different story. Also, the deck has new lines in Master Duel, right? It's gonna have it's gonna have Appaloosa. It's gonna have different ratios. It's not gonna have the Code Talker cards, the Adignister cards. It's gonna have Link Decoder. So it's gonna be different than TCG Malice. And so I will have to be very familiar with it in regards to the World Championship. So we are gonna learn Malice on Friday. And also, of course, in the upcoming weeks. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's not like this is bad news or anything for me. It's not like I'm mad about this because I knew this was going to happen, right? That's the thing with Master Duel. It is behind the TCG. So if there is a deck in the TCG that you don't like, you know it's going to come to Master Duel eventually. Like, I was ready for this. I knew this was going to happen at some point. So it's okay. I've dealt with it in the TCG. I'm gonna deal with it in Master Duel. It's all right. The other way around, you know, whenever there's a deck that I like in the TCG, that's also gonna come to Master Duel eventually. Like, you know, I was always okay with Ryziel. And eventually we're gonna get Mitsurugi. Eventually we're gonna get Vanquish Soul, and so on and so forth. So like all those things are gonna happen as well. So that's fine. I'm just gonna have to learn how to deal with Malice before the World Championship, of course, because as it is right now, even if it releases if they announce like a pre-hit late, or even if they do a small hit to it next month, or even if they don't release March here, no matter what, this deck is probably going to be on every team's lineup for the World Championship, right? Like, that's probably a given at this point, because it releases in July and Worlds are at the end of August. So chances are there's not going to be any hits to Malice until the World Championship, right? So like, it's going to be in every lineup. The only question, I guess, is do they also add Ryziel before the World Championship? And then we're going to have Ryziel and Malice on every lineup. I don't know. That is something we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah. That is the Master Duel news for this upcoming Friday. We're gonna take a look at, like, for example, here I saw Maguro, one of last year's World Championship competitor for Japan, post a list on Twitter this morning as to how you could potentially play Malice in Master Duel at the moment, and this list is insane. This is, I think, a level of Malice that has never been legal in TCG or OCG. I think this would be the best Malice deck ever in any of the formats, because it has 3 Rabbit, 3 Dormouse, 3 Field Spell, but it also has 3 March Hare already. It has access to 3 copies of Allure, plus 2 copies of Gold Sarcophagus. Plus it already has Malice in the Mirror. The only thing it's missing, basically, is the Adignister in the extra deck, but honestly, I don't think that matters. I really don't think that matters for Malice. I think whatever endboard Malice makes, it doesn't care. But it has Appaloosa, plus it's playing best of 1, so there can't be Lancea. Like, I mean, I guess there could be Lancea, but most people won't play it. I'm not saying this deck list is perfect, right? Like, there's no Impulse in here, which you probably will play in Master Duel. But like, still, you know, you could also play Bestials in Master Duel to counter some other decks in the format. But this is probably the strongest version of Malice that we've seen in any format. In like TCG, OCG, whatever. Like, this is the best version of Malice that has ever been legal, I think, in any of the games, if it releases like this, which is crazy. So just some food for thought. Just some food for thought. I would probably put Impulse in here because Impulse is also going to be very strong in the Malice mirror. But yeah. Very, 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 very powerful deck, probably.